Having body image concerns is a relatively common experience and is not a mental health issue or problem in and of itself. However, it can be a risk factor for many mental health problems. If you've suffered from anxiety, depression, shame, or self-consciousness due to your weight or appearance, or feeling like somehow you just don't belong, pay attention. This video is absolutely for you. I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks on how to help cope with that and maybe help you understand that you are not alone. Join me now. Watch. So quick, all right, food addiction, how would you work through that on the psychology piece and the discipline side? Because you have to understand the truth, right? Like your body can go a long time without food, right? People fast for 40 days on just water. And that, like I said, I would, if people do that, recommend obviously help and different things to be monitored, but you can live and it almost create like that's a whole new body. So the psychological part, right? So if I eat just now at 9 o'clock in the morning and I have something that's reasonably so right sustainable, so it's enough, like say enough calories or protein that somebody could argue. I'm not getting into the debates of the diets, but for the purpose of understanding something that's like, here, this is enough for you right now, you should be able to go 3 hours before you're hungry again. The psychological hunger versus real hunger. When the food addiction is triggered, and this would be the core psychology of the addictions, is the energies coming at you of something that's uncomfortable because you're triggered by something that takes you into a place in your brain that's uncomfortable from another situation. So that in our brains are millions of years old. So I say in the spirit of things. So if you've been through an experience that's a difficult experience, how many times have you lived through that cycle that you have then developed the skills to be able to cope with that situation? And that's why it can change at different times based on the type of help you have in your environment, or what type of environment you have, or those base things. So when left more alone, and I mean really alone, and you're triggered, what do you do? So that's why they say the core, the psychology in that sense of you're not really hungry, right? You're triggered then because of something. You're doing something you don't want to do, procrastination, etc., boredom, eating, or is it boredom because you don't want to do whatever task? Is it anxiety driven because you're in a fearful situation and that's your go-to? Okay, now you have something to access, right? So if it's in a situation in a household and there's food, right, as a food addict, well, that's where my attention goes instead of doing, and it could be something simple, like I don't want to do a difficult task, I don't want to work on something, so now I'm hungry instead. Well, that's like false hunger. How do you replace the habit? That's the discipline. If you've been overly disciplined, right, for so long, what if you let yourself go? What would happen? Where, like, what's that fear rooted in? And that OCD and control, etc. So it's an interesting perspective from the brain on how that works with self-worth. So for myself, though, I've never, and I would have looked like I was anorexic because I was so thin, right? I got down to 100 pounds. If you see some of my other videos and things, I've never been anorexic in my life. I had a mother who was anorexic and bulimic. And you know, we never really ate a meal together. Limited times that we did, and her habit were, so I didn't learn any good eating habits. However, I never passed that to my girls, and I was never a person who talked. So is it irony? I talked to the video about my issues now because that's a safe place, and then how that would be versus I do not believe, or being in a partnership or such, like I'm just talking about my weight or complaining or whatever, or my appearance, because I don't want to be around those people. It's very draining. Those aren't the conversations I want to have. So, but internally, I'm feeling that way. So that's where do you go? Like therapy or an eating disorder program, etc. I did that the majority of I've went to so many programs. Well, those programs and I'm not saying but for me, traditional help failed me. So that's why I had to challenge it and understand it for myself, but based on the principles and the things of the foundation of a lot of the studies that are right? It's not saying like it's, you have to work out what's for you personally, but because of my circumstances of what happened to me and how wrong the educated were, I started doing something else. So that's another, it's like a mirror reflection. If you watch my videos as I'm trying to give you tips, what do you see of patterns within yourself? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? That's okay. That's okay. Because your perception is yours. So that's how, when I watch my videos back, I watch from a different character. When I see something, I play a game of, if I watch a movie, for example, I play a game, my head's spinning so much from the position of all the actors, all the characters, the director, the producer, the promoter, the audience, every perspective. And so my brain is so overactive. I challenge you, can you start thinking differently in different shoes that way and understand that this is meant to trigger you? So can I go 3 hours without eating something? That's a discipline. Set a timer. I have to learn discipline again because I needed myself to be free for a bit. You have to learn how to discipline yourself, master your own demons. That's a representation of meeting your ego, the yin to the yang. Do you have enough courage to do that?